Okay, we are back. We are back. I don't know if we're back and better than ever, but we are back. So we are in the midst of another Giants tragic season. And at the moment, at least, we're missing my wonderful brother, Stephen. So, Stephen, shout out to wherever you are. I'm sure you're dealing with something that is unavoidable. Hopefully, you jump in during this one, but we had the momentum. We want to do the show. Show must go on. So, but always with us, we have Paco and we have my boy Lucas. So, and at least for this game, two of us got to witness it in person. Um, Anita and I spent the weekend with Lucas and Alexis, and Lucas and I went to the game with Alexis and her dad Pete. Had a wonderful time, but at least for most of it. I'll say that. Would have liked a better outcome. So, and Lucas, remind me, who did you get those tickets from?
I got him from my buddy Zach. So he's a season ticket holder. He's a good guy.
Gotcha.
He
Gotcha.
As soon as
Yeah.
he had them available and he knew he couldn't go, he texted me right away and was like, "Hey, do you want him?" I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always fun when you see the schedule come out back in, when is it, like May,
Yeah,
April,
yeah,
May, and you see a game like that and you circle it and you go, we're gonna find a way to go to that one because obviously as Giants season ticket holders, we don't get tickets to the Steelers games, right? You got to go find those, and Lord knows we need to spend more money on Giants tickets because we don't spend enough as it is. So there's that. But yeah, so it's one of these things for me where it's a little bittersweet, where it was, oh, we'll go, and now it's gone. It's already passed. So anyway, Pac, how you doing?
I've been better. Uh, just like you said, another. Here we are in week 8, and looking at another losing record. Kind of getting old.
Yeah,
I had sent to you guys the last. What was it? The last 10 seasons, starting off 1-7 or 2-6. No,
yep,
I think it was the last 8 seasons. Either one
yeah.
and
I
seven or
got it.
2-6 to get it going. Um,
Yeah, I got it here. It was, yeah, I was looking at that same one, and it was horrifying. It was either 1-6 or 2-6 or 1-7, except for 2 years ago where it was 6-2. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And then I saw another graphic that came up on Twitter earlier today. It was like the worst records in the NFL in the last 10 years, and it was like us, the Jets, uh, and two other teams. I forget who it was, but yeah,
probably the Panthers have to be up there. I
I
guess
think so.
yeah, because it's
Yeah.
it's been 11 years since they made this, or 9 years since they made the Super
But
Bowl. So
just the general gist
yeah,
of it was we were a bottom five
yep,
NFL team the last 10 years, even with a playoff descent year. So yeah,
Yeah.
just
No,
the movie's getting real old.
it is. It is getting tough. And what's funny, though, is we're not the talk of the town, New York. It's the Jets. so, so at least we could take solace in that, right? So, I mean, I think people's expectations for us were mediocre at best.
yeah.
Yeah, except for us Giants fans. But the reality is, the world was putting us in a, eh, maybe they'll go 6-11, maybe a 7-10. But the Jets were, hey,
Super Bowl.
it's Super Bowl year, and oh my. So anyway, at least we can take solace in that, and it helps that the Yankees were down, 2-0 going into that night. They lost during that night, so it's a lot of good distractions for the New York fan base. But I do want to start just by talking a little bit about the atmosphere at that place. So I've been to Heinz. Well, I'm going to call it Heinz, just like I
Still Heinz.
call. I
It's
don't like.
always Heinz.
I don't
Yeah,
like
don't
calling
worry.
MetLife.
Everyone still calls it
MetLife.
Heinz. It doesn't matter.
Even on the
Yeah.
telecast, they were still calling it, and they were like having
Yeah.
to correct themselves. So I feel like
How
everyone
much
does.
that company paid for it? Acusure, whoever they are, acupuncture.
Yeah.
I mean, they they're not getting their money's worth because it's
They paid a lot
Heinz.
of money.
It's
They
Heinz.
paid a lot.
Yeah, and there's a. I mean, it's still the Heinz Red Zone. There's still a humongous ketchup bottle on a building right next to it. Like it's
Yeah.
Heinz. Um, but I'd only been to Pitt Notre Dame games there, and wow, Steeler atmosphere, phenomenal, phenomenal. It reminded me, although it's still better than I'm going to be honest, the old Giant Stadium. It's a real just intense crowd. I think there's a couple factors, and I'd love to get your perspective as someone who lives in the city, Lucas, but that play into it. And one is it's just Pittsburgh. We have two teams in the same stadium, and all those other distractions around New York. I mean, for Pittsburgh, it's the Steelers, and so I mean, it's just when you walk around. I mean, how prevalent is Steeler Nation in that town?
Oh, a Steeler jersey is acceptable in any function. You could have to show up to work in a full suit. If you came in a Steeler jersey, no one would say a word to you. It's a great atmosphere, and also it's like all of your teams are the same colors, so it doesn't matter. You can blend in pretty easily, all that stuff. You have Pirates and Steelers. The stadium's right next to each other. PBG's a little bit. It's downtown, but yeah, they did
like a Letang jersey, a Crosby jersey, but
you'll see, but it's acceptable. The colors fit in, so it doesn't matter what you wear.
Yeah, it was a sea of black and gold. I mean, again, beyond anything I've ever seen at a Giants game. It was fascinating. And what made it funny was because we're so beautifully blue, we stuck out like sore thumbs. And there were actually plenty of sore thumbs. I mean, it wasn't like there were no Giants fans there. But what was interesting, I thought, and I'm guessing part of this is because we're the Giants and not the Browns or the Ravens or the Bungles, but I felt totally fine. Nobody said a word to me. I think one guy on the way out or something just jokingly said something to me. But otherwise, if you go to Philly, and I'm sorry, in Philly, Giants I get, but there he is. I knew he would. He would come.
We got the outside view, the cat ears.
Now
Sailor.
We're going next level. We're going next. See, this is why why we love. What are you doing?
I'm building my shed.
Okay, it's a good
in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Well, Lance is demanding, so I got a lot of lights out here, and I just do my thing. It's good to not have neighbors.
Well, and I got to ask this question: what's the temperature?
It's actually not bad. It's like 65.
Oh, that's not
bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up this way.
He's
It's
got
not bad either.
the Vaseline on the arms. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Vaseline in my ass. That's sweat, bitches.
Sun's out, guns out. Sun's out, guns out. Yeah. So we were just talking about atmosphere, my brother, and I mean the Steelers' atmosphere was phenomenal, and it reminded me of the old Giants Stadium. It's still better. I would put it at our playoff games. That's how intense it is. And part of it is we don't. And I even noticed this at Ravens games. We don't have any good rhythm traditions in the game. For example, they have a great one. Just give me the two Steeler ones that I really enjoyed. One really annoyed me, but I would enjoy it if I were a Steeler fan. Was when they get a first down, the announcer goes, "And there's another Steelers," and everyone goes, "First down." He doesn't say a word. They all say it. Yeah. The second one.
It's funny to bring that up because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh God. I was going to finish.
No. Finish the
second one.
Yeah.
The second one is they have a rally song, and it's one of my favorite songs from the '70s, "Renegade" by Styx. Yeah. And man, did the roof came off that place. It doesn't even have a roof. If it had one, it would have blown away. I videoed it and even put it on YouTube, and I think I even tweeted it. And the video does not do it justice at all. It's insane. It's 50,000 yellow towels, people screaming. It was a good time, as long as they weren't playing the Giants. So, go ahead, Stephen. Your perspective.
I feel like a lot of the smaller markets, it's kind of like all they have. Pittsburgh has literally the Pirates and the Steelers, and that's about, or at least that was it for 60 years.
Yeah, and the Penguins.
And the Penguins. Yeah. So, if you're a devoted sports fan, those are your three teams. Yep. You're devoted to them like it's a college town, so it has just a completely different vibe. Where in New York, you had when these teams were coming up, what do you have 8, 9 teams to choose from? The impact of winning and losing is just less when you have so many options. I'll watch the Orioles lose, and then I'll watch another team that I'll watch. Well, that didn't really happen often, but the Wizards win, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm still cool. You know what I mean? It sort of balances out where if the Steelers lose, it's like, oh my God, life's over. Until next Sunday.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it is.
Well, and I think like a lot of what I'll call second level, not second tier, but kind of second level towns, to your perspective, or metropolitan areas like that, do have a little bit of an axe to grind with the bigger ones, right? They want to show we're just as good as you. So when the Steelers became known as champions and winners, and continue to do so, I think a big part of it is sticking it to places like New York and Chicago, and like we're better than you in football, and there's less of us, so haha, right? There's a part of that I think that goes with it, but it also helps, like I was saying before we got on. It's just so cool when it's integrated into the city too. Like the stadium is part of the city. Like we could have walked back to Lucas's apartment, that's in the city, and that's not a big deal. Where when you're out in the swamps of Jersey, it's not.
It's a cool.
Not a lot there.
Well, every place is walking distance if you have the time.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's true.
But at the same time, it's not exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a neighborhood thing. That's why that's why the Orioles have such an intense following, in spite of the fact that they had 15 years where they were horrible. People still showed up more than they did in a lot of other cities that were horrible.
Yeah. Nope, I hear you. So that part of it, like I said, was outstanding. We had a fun tailgate. We did a really, and I got to give Lex's friend Sammy credit. I thought it might not be a good idea, but there's a parking garage that's 10 levels up, and they went to the top of that, and the stadium's like right across from it. So it was a pretty awesome view up there tailgating, just as the sun was going down. Big shout out to Sammy for picking that spot. I think it was accidental. They had actually a reserved, didn't they, Lucas? A better spot, or a spot down in the middle of the lot.
They were supposed to be in the lot that we were in, and they were like, "No, you're over in the garage." And I'm sorry about that. And they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah. The downside is I can't imagine I had a good time getting out, because you got to go all the way down the 10 levels of the garage just to get out.
No,
but that wasn't our problem, so we didn't care. So yeah, overall A+ experience as a fan base and a venue, and our seats were interestingly kind of more. They were kind of in between our old seats and our new seats. Like we weren't all the way in the corner like the old seats, and we weren't right behind the goalpost like the new seats. It was kind of off center, but still a similar point of view, but about 30 rows up. So better view of the whole field. But like the touchdown with the double tap was in the corner we were in. It was in the opposite side, so I didn't see it. We couldn't see his feet the way where he landed, but that was a wild one. One more comment about the pregame stuff, or two more quick ones. One is just to for the people that know about the jersey. So here was the jersey's adventure. The jersey was at the Philly game last week. My man Pac put it in the mail, sent it to his mama. We flew up to Baltimore. I went to his mama's house on Saturday, picked it up. We drove from Baltimore up to York to visit Lucas's grandmother, then went to Pittsburgh, then came all the way back to Baltimore yesterday to drop it off. So it made the rounds, but so it has made another stadium. So add that to the list. And the other thing was, one of the fans that sits next to us, and I think we're going to have her on the show, Sandy. She sat in front of us for years at the old stadium. I basically grew up with her. When we were at the Minnesota game, she was there, and found out her daughter lives in Pittsburgh. And so they were at the game. Really, really weird situation where Lucas texts me on Saturday, and he goes, "Hey, I'm at this bar, and was it Southside?"
Yeah, regardless, it wasn't near my place. It was like I had to drive there. Yeah.
And what did you experience there?
I was like, this guy's sitting with a Yankees hat, and he has a very distinguished nose, and I was like, I swear I know this man. I was like, and I look over, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Sandy and Joe. Like, and I text you, and I'm like, I don't remember what she looked like, because it's been years, and it was. So I was weirdly
awesome.
sitting next to them.
But he didn't feel comfortable. I
didn't know.
By the time I confirmed it, they had gone. I did go to her seats at the game, so she was way, way up in 505. But I did go up, have a good chat with her and her daughter Lindsay, and did see Connor as well. And to Lucas's point, Connor wasn't there with them. He definitely would have known.
Yeah, if I was there, I would have gone up.
So that's the pregame stuff. Let's get into the game. So I'm going to throw out DJ as a topic. Who wants to fire first? Go ahead, Pac.
So I saw today, this is just, I guess, following from the game, that Dayball has announced that Daniel Jones will start again. So I am convinced he must know something about the Giants franchise that could burn the whole world down, because there is no way in God's green earth that this man is the best chance of us winning.
He's incriminating pictures of bear.
Yes, he has to have something holding against management, Dayball, somebody. There is no way. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those things where I'll fall into those instances with him where he'll be very flashy. He'll throw a good ball. He'll make a decent play, and then he'll make a play where you scratch your head. So I'm at the point now where I think this whole experiment. I mean, we're at the point now where he's lost another primetime game. He's 1-15 now, 1-16 now in primetime. I mean, it's getting to the point now. It's getting really old. We need just something to give us a different spark at the quarterback position at this point. And I think everyone else, and it's at the point now where our confident players are losing confidence, because when they have Daniel Jones throwing him the ball, they, hospital balls, they're putting them in bad situations. It's at that point now where we just need to just put this to bed. But seems like he's just going to keep starting for us. But so I don't know.
My prediction is he'll start this game, he'll start the Panthers, then we have the bye, and then they're going to make the switch. That's going to be so that way you have the bye week to get Locke or DeVito, whoever you want. You have a week to an extra week to get them going, and then go from there. But
even if DJ wins both and plays well,
if he wins both the games, he'll keep playing. But
okay,
and this is, I guess,
I know I went out on a limb there,
but I saw a compilation. So that third down where he threw it behind Neighbors and Neighbors dropped it, he still should have caught it. Someone did a side-by-side of when Eli threw in 2016 to Odell the slant that Odell took to the house against the Ravens. It's the same exact route, but Eli leads him, and he takes it 70 yards to the house, where Neighbors probably he might not have scored a touchdown, but he would have gained another 20 yards, and we would have been in business. So it's like he threw that hospital ball to Slayton, where if he threw it literally half a second earlier, Slayton's gone. Yeah. And he catches it in stride. It's just he doesn't throw the anticipation. He throws on his first read, I think it's 85% of the time. He predetermines where he's going in the huddle. He's just not an NFL level quarterback. We all know this. It is what it is. Yeah.
Steven.
Well, so I was actually watching the Manning podcast. So when that stat came up about when they were talking about Watt being singled up on the outside on El Manure, or what is his name?
Illuminor.
And he asked to be on an island with him, and it went viral. He did go out there and say,
to be fair, he did. I honestly, the majority of the game, TJ Watt was not an impact at all. Until the second half of the quarter. When it mattered, I know. When it mattered, but he did keep him silent.
In that play, Eli spotted it, and then Daboll backed it up, saying that he should have gotten the tight end over there. I understand. I mean, there's people who talk smack about how good they are, and then reality hits, and you're like, that was a bad choice, Yeah. I'm sure people talk a lot of smack to Larry Bird just to find out that was a bad choice. So, but my issue is if you go 3 games without having any play over 15 yards, and it's not a rookie quarterback, that means you do not trust him, or he doesn't trust his receiver. There's not trust there, and you just can't have a quarterback that doesn't trust his receivers. And as much as I despise Aaron Rodgers, whenever he picks a receiver to come over with him, it's because he trusts them, and he shows it by throwing the ball in some questionable situations, and the guy often comes through for him. I don't feel like Daniel Jones trusts anybody, or Daboll doesn't trust him, put him in the position to trust him, or whatever. But you don't see Daniel Jones doing anything with confidence at this point. Nothing. I don't know if he'll ever get it back. And I look at Darnold, who's also 6 years in, and he's playing with confidence for the first time. And you see the difference when you do or you don't. Yeah. Darnold had a lot of the same issues that Jones had up until this year. So a lot of it has to do with the head game. Physically, these guys are not that different. They're all 6'4", 6'5". They're all 220 to 240. A lot of it has to do with just freaking having stones and having your coach go, I trust you.
Yeah, and it's hard to get inside someone's head, but I can't. It just seems that DJ is cracking under the pressure of his contract in New York, where like Darnold now is playing on house money, right? He's living free because
he makes millions.
Yeah, and I think that's that's you paid the guy and he should be performing, and I thought I heard this that with that whole play, not only did Dayball agree with like Eli and point out the same thing, but I thought DJ said he forgot to do it.
He was supposed to.
Yeah.
He was supposed to shift him over. He didn't make
he was told. Again, that's the
thing.
Moment's too big for you. You don't forget things like that. Like that's when you're under pressure and you make mistakes. And when your defense gets you the ball twice at the end of the game and you can't even get close to a field goal, and both times it's turnovers on you. I'm out, baby. I'm done.
Yeah, we could have been talking about how Russ through the game with that stupid scramble. We looked at each other next to each other like, oh, he's not going down. That was awesome. They punched the ball out right then and there. I was like, oh, all right, we're back to business. And then, you might want to chip the guy that's going to walk first ballot in the Hall of Fame. You might want to help him out a little bit in the biggest play of the game.
And to me, that particular thing of knowing that he did it wrong, he wasn't paying attention to the details. Not dissimilar from when he didn't have the details in line with the 2-point conversion. It makes me say that, if this guy doesn't get the details and doesn't understand how to protect himself with calling the right coverages and the right support for chipping whomever or whatever, and they talk about the Giants' offensive line, what if the Giants' offensive line is not as bad as we think, but Jones is often getting the calls wrong? Like, to me, that has been brought into the possibility.
Yeah. Well, so let's move on from Daniel, but you gave another thread I wanted to get into, and I'll go to analytics boy first here, or my wonderful son. 2-point conversion. What did you think? Not the play.
Well, so I didn't see it live because I ran to the bathroom after they scored the touchdown. I assumed that they would kick the extra point. I was like, I don't care, it's an extra point, right? So I'm going to the bathroom and I hear a loudspeaker, the Giants are lining up in this weird formation. I'm just going, oh God, I'm in the bathroom. Like, I have seen the play now. Apparently the line was not ready for the snap. Like, the guys that were out there,
it was rushed.
It was rushed.
It would have worked.
It would have worked. They
Numbers on the field, it would have worked.
Yep.
And I'm more about here's my take. What's funny is I listened to who was it? I think it was Rich Eisen today. And he said the exact same thing I think. Because people talk about this game theory and all this crap about, well, you go for it that first time because then if you get it, you're in position. If you don't, you just do it a second time. My take, though, especially on the road on a Monday night, that Tracy touchdown was awesome. Yeah. And that building was shocked by it. Yeah. That building was shocked by it. Yeah. And that 2-point conversion flipped it right back into their momentum. That stupid-ass play, it absolutely stole it. It totally was not worth it. And again, play design seems like it was brilliant. Problem was, how much did they practice it? Because
I see
not ready to execute it.
I see Oregon do it once a week. That's like their bread and butter. They go for 2. Yeah. They do the swing gate every week. Analytics-wise, if you catch them with got 5 of your biggest linemen on 2 people on the one side and somebody behind it, it's going to work. They just rushed it, and I don't understand why there was a rush, but I'm with you too. You kick the extra point, you keep that momentum, and you build off that. If you got to get the 2 points down the road, you got to get the 2 points.
Yeah, well, then you go for 2. If you score again, and then you can take the lead. Yeah. You go for the win, and you don't play with overtime on the road. You just go for the win, like we did in Tennessee in 2022, when it was like, all right, we're just going to do this. We're out of here.
And again, I don't know where that play stood for them in terms of it, but like I've heard of coaches, and I'll use a basketball example because I know a bit more about that. But, everyone knows the Christian Laettner play. But did you know that was something they did at the end of every single practice? Every single practice, they ran that play. Just on the chance that they needed. And earlier in the year, they actually tried it, and it didn't work. It was a bad pass. But they were prepared for that moment. That's a huge call to use that 2-point conversion. So I get it, but anyway, so it was pretty frustrating from my perspective. So, all right. How about the pre-snap penalties? And I was talking about the last one, but again, what the hell?
So Pee-wee, man. It goes back to it's day one stuff you learn in football, the basics. And that ties into Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has to take charge. If it happens once, okay, then you nip it in the bud. And you're like, all right, it can't happen again. Let me make sure everybody's good. But it just kept happening, and I blame Dayball too, because that's something that you have to nip in the bud right away. And this is how many games do we get illegal formations or illegal man downfield? It's a couple times a game. It's getting old now. These guys are professionals. You're playing at the highest level. Even my dad coaches 13-year-olds, and when they do it, he gets pissed. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's peewee. You got to nip it in the bud. I just don't understand it, and it's losing us games because we're going from these second and third and short situations to just backing ourselves up. And we know how Giants football is. When it's third and long, we're going to throw it short and let our guy try to get it. And then we're in that situation all the time. It's so annoying.
Yeah, like I think after the third time it happened, there was that old clip in the 2007 America's game where the year before Coughlin's running around screaming at them, "We lost the game because of legal procedure," and that just goes through my head of him screaming that every time we get one of these calls, because he would not have let this happen again. He would have been all right. Now I did see like two of them were suspect calls, like where it was like
the neighbors one was a little bit, because they usually on any given Sunday that they let that one fly.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like, all right, like, and then like 12-man was actually beneficial. I saw someone do that a couple years ago, but I forgot that was the thing. If the other team gets 7 yards on first down, you just give them the first down, and then you save your timeout by causing the penalty. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we got
Steven. We lost your video. Are you still with us? Yo. All right. Well, we'll keep talking. He'll find us back. Hopefully no injuries happen.
That one guy that was sitting in front of us did say that officiating crew calls the most penalties every game.
But can we all agree the Giants have been in multiple games this season? I've always preached, don't let the refs dictate how your game is.
Yeah.
We've been in multiple games where there's been 3 or 4 game-altering calls. The no roughing the kicker.
Oh, that was so bad. Yeah.
Malik Neighbors getting absolutely assaulted by Joey Porter Jr. In a no pass.
That was right in front of us too. We were just like, "Oh, he's open, he's got this," and his arm is getting yanked behind him. I'm just like, "What do you want him to do?"
It's getting really bad now to where it's just the refs can alter the game in a snap of a finger, and it's sad to see.
I was texting with the guy that bought us a ticket, that gave his ticket, Zach, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll be honest, the Steelers like never get any calls until we played you guys, and then we actually got he's like, normally the Steelers are on the bad end, but against you guys, man, we got all the calls." Like, I was like, thanks. Help. Yeah, I was like, glad. Yeah, experienced Giants football, baby.
Well, that was the argument Lucas and I were having with the Steelers fans before the game, where they were all going, "This is the exact type game we lose. We're gonna do this. This is gonna happen." And we're like, "No. You don't know. You understand. You understand." Okay.
And by the end of it, they're like,
he has never won a Monday Night Football game. He's now 0-8 at Monday Night Football. 0-8.
Yeah.
So 1-14 prime time. Yeah. And what's funny is that, Steve, I didn't know this. I don't know if it was talked about during the broadcast, but the last time the Steelers lost a home Monday night game was to us in 1991.
Yep.
22.
I don't know, and I'd have to look it up. I can't imagine the Giants have won 22 Monday night games in their history.
Oh yeah.
The Steelers have won 22 straight home games.
Yeah.
And the NFL still wants to put us in prime time. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
Let's watch football.
And if I can just go back to the pre-snap penalties real quick. If you have 3 games where you don't have a play 15 yards or longer, and you're getting pre-snap penalties, that means that you never get a first down whenever you have a penalty. So every single time you do that, you're if you can't get 15 yards, you can't overcome those penalties. It's just that simple. We just don't do that.
Defensive holding call or something.
Every
a first down.
Everything has gotten so conservative about making mistakes and stuff that everybody's paranoid. No one can do anything.
Yeah. Well, we're on to the Commies, and I have to admit that I think that their game was pretty freaking spectacular. I have enjoyed watching the compilation of Bears fans' videos as they watch it because they're freaking hysterical. The guys in the end zone, I don't know if you've seen this one, they're iPhoning it in the end zone, and they're like, yeah, and they're right in front of us. Lucas, it's pretty much the same view we had. They're at that angle of that pass coming in,
and you just see
that moron.
Tyreek Stevenson's like, in the middle of the play.
As the play's starting, the play's going on.
And he's the one that tipped it.
Yeah.
He's the one that tipped it.
That's right.
If he wasn't good, he would not have been on the plane. Huh?
Has he spoken? Has he?
Yeah, he apologized.
Okay.
That was a Chat GPT written apology, but it was an apology.
Does Chat GPT have for that? So tell me how to respond to
a whole city
play. Yeah.
How to apologize to a city for costing them the game.
But in
a
weird way,
I wrote a eulogy
Steve.
with ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I wrote a eulogy for a friend with ChatGPT. I didn't use it, but it's pretty good.
It does.
It's a great idea starter. It really is for lots of things. Yeah, if you just are stuck, throw in some words about what you're trying to figure out, and it'll give you some ideas. Maybe we should ask him, how do we fix Daniel Jones? Maybe I'll put that in ChatGPT.
We'll go with that next week.
See what that tells. Okay, that's my homework.
Let's each do it and see if we all get. Let's each do it and see if we all get different responses.
See what we get the answers. How do we fix Daniel Jones? So I'm sure that's what Shane was doing the other night. So yeah, the thing about the Commies winning is, they're kind of on this ridiculous high, thinking they're invincible. So maybe we could sneak up on them.
I don't either.
They're like the one team we find a way to beat, right? I mean, to me, the true harbinger or the last, plague of the apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, is them beating us twice in a season. Because when's the last time that happened? Yeah. It's been a long time.
I hate to throw salt in the wound, but looked at the injury report today. We had 15 people on it, so didn't look too.
And let's at least go this way. Try to end on a positive. My boy Tracy is a bad man, and he is a bargain basement compared to Saquon. So, again, not that I would take him over Saquon right now, but he's making me miss Saquon less. That's for darn sure. That kid can play.
He tweeted out, can you believe I've only been doing this for 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. That was hilarious, yeah.
So, I just hope his head is okay.
They actually said he's moving better than Neighbors was in terms of the protocol. Okay. So they said he's doing non-contact stuff. He's actually practicing, but just so hopefully we'll have him for Sunday. So we're gonna need him. We're gonna need something.
In all ironies, on my work fantasy team, my backfield right now is Barkley and Tracy.
So I almost came back and won. I know.
Because you had Boswell, the kicker. He was lighting it up.
Former Giants great Kris Boswell. Never forget. He was on our practice squad in 2015. The Steelers signed him off, and he's been money ever since. So that would have been nice to keep that guy around.
He should have been in the top 100.
He could have been. He could have been. Honestly, we ruined it. He could have been our next kicker.
He was 102. He was 102.
Yeah, well,
So, right. After Graham Gano, who was 101. So, is he done for the year, Gano?
No, he's supposed to come back.
He's supposed to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's old. He's like
now that he's gotten some rhythm, he's been serviceable.
Yeah. If we get another 7-8 field goal situation with Washington on Sunday, I don't know where we go from here.
We love kicking field goals now. Love kicking field goals. I'm gonna start betting the field goal over every time.
Or first point scored will be a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lucas and I thought.
Whenever I hear Graham Gano's name, I always think of the great space coaster Gary Gnu. You guys are too young to remember that.
That's right.
Dumbness.
Or I think of the Great Gazoo from the Flintstones?
Yep.
All right, so quick round, Commies. Are we all going like this? Are we all thinking it's an L? Anyone want to take the risk?
Trap game.
Okay.
I love positivity. I love the optimism.
Like you said, hell will freeze over if we lose to Washington twice in the season. So and we're at home. I said we play well in the legacy uniforms.
We don't play well at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jones has.
Will Daniel Jones throw a touchdown? That is the real question.
My prediction is the defense will get a touchdown. We'll get a defensive touchdown. I'm just going to be bold and say it. I think we're going to get after Jaden Daniels. He's still kind of hurt. People forget that he's playing with an injury. I think we get after him, and the defense scores more points than the offense.
Okay.
We just need Dex to land on him one time. That's not going to feel good for him. Dex land on him one time, it's over.
I'm talking like a 13-17 affair.
Let's not forget.
Maybe 13-10 kind of affair.
Let's not forget that Detroit just scored 52 points, and they had less than 250 yards, and their quarterback only threw for 85.
Yep.
So weird stuff can happen. I think they're going to win. Actually, I truly do. I think the Redskins have skipped a couple steps in regards to their competency, and I think that this is the type of game not dissimilar to the Ravens last week, where they go, "Wait, what? We just lost? Wait, that what?" I feel like it's going to be something like that, where I feel like we have enough good players outside of our quarterback to steal one.
We would be a fringe playoff team if we had above average quarterback play. We would have beat the Steelers. We would beat a lot of teams. So
we could have had Russell Wilson.
Could have had Jameis.
No.
Could have had Jameis.
Well,
could have had Flacco.
We could have had crab legs. Could have had Flacco.
Maybe next year we go out and get Jameis. Like, I wouldn't be upset with that. Why not, man? He's fun.
I'm on
He's
Jameis,
fun.
man.
But the problem is, if he lights it up in Cleveland, they keep him. And then say Flacco lights it up in Indy, they keep him. So we're just screwing ourselves.
I don't know, because Browns didn't keep Flacco, and he was awesome last year for them. So you never know.
That's true.
You never
That's
know.
true.
All right, guys. We're going to call this one to an end. Always a pleasure. Peace out. See you next